Home for me is a very, very small country town in central west New South Wales in Australia. It's about a town of 2,000. It's called Grenfell. Closest major city is about 2.5 hours drive, and then Sydney, which is probably like a key spot for like football and sports in general, is about 4.5 hours away. So very remote, but an incredible upbringing and childhood. Our football club had mixed teams when I was younger, so I was introduced initially when my brother was playing, and I was like, well, if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it. So I got into football, I think it was under sixes. I started when I was 4, so it was quite an early start for me, but I didn't travel a lot for it initially. And then when I got to 12, 13, that's when mum and dad had to pick up crazy amounts of hours to drive me all over the place for trainings and games. So Canberra United was the closest A-Leagues team that I could go to while still finishing school. So I still lived at home whilst I was balancing year 12, and the easiest option for me was to go and play for Canberra whilst I was still studying. So I was travelling, 4 or 5 times a week. So mum and dad made an enormous effort for me there. And then that was my first experience at Canberra. I went to uni in Sydney, so that was obviously the change from Canberra United to Western Sydney Wanderers. So that gave me the opportunity to study, but also play. It was an enormous shift for me. I was in college culture, so I stayed on campus. It was completely different. I think for the first 6 months I was super homesick and overwhelmed, but I'm so glad that I got to experience that, because then I think that gave me all the skills that I needed and developed those to then move overseas. Obviously I had interest from Paris, and for me I was like, I can't do that. No way, what do you mean? And then one of my friends was like, no, you're gonna go do that. I thought about it and took the leap, so I'm glad I did. I think you have a bit of doubt because it's obviously one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I don't know, I sat with it for a bit, talked through it with my friends and family, and then I think made the final decision to go for it. It's very different. Australian culture is very fast-paced. It's like you try and fit as much in a day as you can. And I think my first week in Paris, I was like, oh, the closest coffee shop opens at 10 o'clock. What is going on? I think that's just European culture, and I think I've gained a big appreciation for it. From a cultural point of view, I was super excited to play in the WSL. It was quite nice to see Aussies thrive in this league, and for me it was something that I always wanted to do. So yeah, I thought transitioning to the WSL would be a positive thing for my development, play really, really good opposition week in, week out, and share that experience in a cultural environment which was more comfortable for me. I think my debut match when we beat Palace 4-0 at home was a really, really good start. Playing for Spurs is just going out and knowing that we can win a game and feeling super prepared, and being out there and being able to express myself. I really, really love it. So yeah, I think this year's got a lot more positive connotation so far, so I'm keen to build on that. I feel like I'm pretty stock standard, so try to keep the preparation pretty standard, do the same things which help me prepare. AirPods, sleep mask, lay pretty low, don't really play games up the back unless I'm really desperate and the trip's really long. Very, very chill. Lots of popcorn, lots of mineral waters or coffees, so yeah, we're all stocked up on the bus. I sit next to Mandy, she's really good, she's pretty quiet, she stands up half the trip, so I get extra leg room, which is great. And then who not to, I would probably say Araya Denner. She's either sleeping half off a chair or making lots of noise. When I was 13, I remember writing down, we had a state camp, and it was write down your football goals, and for me it was just make the national team. So I had that stick, and I remember that moment maybe when I was 13. I hadn't capped for Australia until 2023, and I got my debut there in February. I had my debut, played a few games for Australia, and then thought, I want to make the roster for the World Cup. So I went for it, went to prep camp, felt really valued in that environment, and I just thought, go and express yourself, go have fun. So yeah, for the World Cup for me was my first major tournament. I was like, oh, it's just football, just go have fun, there's no pressure, nothing to lose. I didn't really understand how big it was until it probably finished. I remember our first game against Ireland, we walked out and I looked up and you could barely see the end of where the stadium finished, and there was 80,000 people in the stadium, and I was like, wow, this is it, you did it, So yeah, I feel very, very lucky to have my first major tournament at home, but to have it when women's football was growing, and it was incredible. Just make sure that you're doing it because you enjoy it. I think the process of that becomes so much easier when you're investing time and energy into something that's super important to you and that you absolutely love. I think when you can apply yourself over a long period of time, and if you don't get too impatient, I think if you can apply yourself for that long, like, things will happen for you.